Welcome, everybody, to the Minions of the Zoo Tuesday edition. I'm your keeper, Skep, and with me I have minions Adam
Hello.
and Harry.
Howdy.
And welcome everyone to the Sausage Festival. Yep, Skep,
Uh,
without a woman on the panel, that's kind of unusual for me.
Yeah. No one wants to see how this sausage is made.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
oh man, it's me, isn't it? It's because I'm of clan veggie.
No.
Oh, wait, no, that doesn't make sense.
Although vegetarian haggis is probably one of the scariest sounding things ever. Have you ever seen a picture of
No.
that? It's
No.
just haggis is wrong, but vegetarian haggis seems like an extra order wrong on top of it.
Wait a minute. I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever seen a picture of haggis.
It's oats and nasty parts of a lamb sewed
I
up
don't-
inside a lamb's stomach, then boiled.
Oh.
I can't figure out if it's something that some of them secretly like in Scotland or if it's just a cruel joke they pull on the tourists. They swear that it's not a cruel joke, but I'm not sure.
What is it?
It's like they take all, like I said, oats and nasty bits of like lamb lung and spices and stuff, and they stick it in a lamb's stomach, tie it up, then boil it. And then they cut this thing open, and there's all this ritual that goes along with consuming the haggis.
Yeah.
Where they read
Wait, they got a
poetry
ritual?
and pour. Yeah, they read poetry and pour scotch over it, and I don't know.
I was going to say it involves copious amounts of whiskey.
You know, there is drinking, so that smooths things over. Probably when you're in the moment, it seems like a pretty good idea.
Don't you think haggis got invented over some alcohol?
I think it got invented because somebody didn't have anything to eat. They're just like,
Hold on.
well, let's see. You know, how do I Iron Chef this? I've got a
we
sheep's
have
stomach, I've got some lungs, and I've got some leftover oats. How do I
Well, hold
pass this
on.
off as dinner?
Got a
There's-
little
there's-
pearl barley and some split peas, and some of the other things you find in haggis.
I'm sure we can get in contact with a true Scotsman and see if it's an actual thing. Wait, it's Scots, right, or not Irish? I don't
No,
know.
it's Scots, and we do
Scots,
know
yeah.
actual Scotsmen.
Yeah.
Tailed Feature would be probably the best example.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't tell me if Scottish people, if it's kind of like their version of Santa Claus, you know, they just lie to us about the haggis.
Hold
'Cause
on.
it
So
gives the
do you
tourists
think
something to do.
Well, hold on. Does that mean that Tail Feature is part of the ploy and he is willingly lying to us?
I think they might all
to-
be in on it. I think they might all be in on it,
no.
man. I think
As soon as
I
they're
think
born.
big,
Yes,
I think
Lottie.
big haggis.
Yes, and make sure you tell all those foreigners that haggis is real.
then you eat the haggis. No, it's
And then they
real.
eat the
Just
haggis.
the made up part is they don't eat that unless we're around.
No, unless we're.
It's,
You never see them eating.
yeah.
And they're not in the room.
I have to remind myself, I promised myself I was going to stop trying to do accents because I suck at them. So I'm glad you've picked up the baton and you're doing the accents. It's good. Anyway, how did we talk about haggis? Oh, yes, because it's a sausage party. Excellent.
They
How
Wait,
was
put-
your day, Skep?
you know, it's just a day of maintenance, farm maintenance, and walking dogs, and we're babysitting a dog, a puppy with a lot of energy, who needs to be walked quite a bit. It's getting hot here in Texas, so there's a lot of physical exercise in my life these days. I'm just completely physically worn out at the end of every day. I kind of like that feeling because I sleep better for one thing. But there's work to do in the yard in the Brenda farm, the farm my wife has created, and suddenly a wild Serenity joined the stream.
Hello.
Nice to have you with us, Serenity.
We were discussing planting stuff, and I lost track of time and went, "Son of a!"
Yeah. No, glad to have you with us. We were just kind of talking about what we've been doing and so forth. I've been spending some time out with the plants, the tomatoes, the cucumbers, the peppers, the peas, the beans. We've got some volunteer carrots. We've got massive amounts of tomatoes, just extreme amounts of tomatoes. We have tomatoes growing up like weeds in strange parts of the yard, where a tomato got, rotten piece of tomato got thrown, seeds took root, tomato plant. And they really do grow like weeds.
I have an idea.
Oh no.
What's that?
Okay. This is kind of European, so I apologize.
Oh Jesus.
But there are places in Europe where they often have too many tomatoes. And what they do in several of them is they have festivals that involve throwing tomatoes at things and other people.
Yes.
Bear with
Spain
me.
is famous for this, by the way.
So what I'm thinking is giant paper mache effigies of like Joe Biden, Kamala.
You have like a shooting range.
And then people basically just show up and they give you like, $20 for like a box of tomatoes. And like the whole thing is just people throwing tomatoes at the effigies.
There you
could
go.
make a small fortune. The cleanup would suck, but you could make some serious money, I think. And people have fun.
It sounds like fun, but I'll tell you what I've discovered.
I hold on. I disagree. As a follower of the great comedian Fozzie Bear, I think that is an insult to great comedians all over the world. They don't deserve a tomato in the face. Maybe a pie.
As long as it's whipped cream.
Yeah. It's one of the things I've discovered is how great fresh squeezed tomato juice is.
Mm-hmm.
When you take tomatoes and just vaporize them in a blender and pour that into a glass, throw a little salt in it, it's pretty amazingly great. It tastes so much better than any other tomato juice I've ever had. It really is absolutely awesome. Just recommending it. But yeah, it's the cucumbers have started to produce. Last year we just started throwing cucumbers away. We really did have too many cucumbers this year, and we half the cucumbers that we're getting are volunteers from last year. That's the cool thing about farms. You never know what went to seed. Some fruit drops on the ground, boom. Because we're pretty good to the soil around here. We about putting fertilizer and stuff on it.
Is the laws different in Texas? Because I know here in West Virginia, like if we have any leftover produce, we can take it to food banks. Can you not take any of the leftover stuff to food banks down there?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think there's any.
As long as it's not processed, because we don't like they won't take canned stuff from us. It has to be fresh.
Wait a minute. I just remembered. I used to actually be a volunteer at the North Texas Food Bank.
Uh-huh.
They don't do fresh produce up there.
Oh, okay. I guess because around here, so many people have like small little gardens, or most people around in my area at least have an acre. And if you have half an acre, you can do a heck of a lot with a garden.
Yeah.
So I guess around
back
here,
to 1986 to remember.
I was 2. I was a baby.
Oh me.
1986 was a good year.
86 was the beginning of a pretty good period for me. Coming off 83 to 85 graduate school, God, and trying to start a software company at the same time. Full-time graduate school, start a software company at the same time. You don't have a date. You don't go to movies. I basically was building computers in my apartment and studying accounting. Jesus. What a terrible time that was.
Nice.
So glad to have that in the rearview mirror. That was anyway. I reminisce way too much in the show. So
yeah, but it's fun, and I do it too. And I actually kind of bait you into reminiscing, so it's partially my fault. But I'm just
That's-
trying to remember. I shouldn't say too much right now because Adam hasn't told us about his day.
Yes, Adam, what you been up to, man?
I'm pretty sure I already talked about
Well,
my
you and
day.
I kind of discussed it, but that was
Oh.
before the show. This is for benefit of our listeners.
Oh, well, I
What's
mean,
new in Adam's world?
Adam, Adam's world. Uh, what day is it?
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh shit. Well, I was
It's Tuesday.
lucky
I
and
must be streaming.
I was lucky enough to be invited onto this fantastic show. I feel out of my element. You know, it feels like Urkel stumbled on the Full House show. It's just like, oh
Hey.
shit, what is Adam doing on Tuesday?
Hey, those TGIF crossovers were amazing. Don't even.
Yeah.
I love those episodes.
Does anybody have cheese? Oh, never mind. But no, it's fucking Tuesday, you know, just trudging through the work week. And yeah, you know, I fucking dude, I work 9 to 5. I come home and I hang out, watch weirdo videos. It's nothing exciting, to be honest.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
but I have been working on some drawings, which is nice. Getting back into that groove, to be honest.
That's
but
good to hear because you've got some talent, man.
it's been some tumultuous times. I think I used that word correctly. And so you know, there hasn't really been a lot of focus. I haven't even been like, to be real, even playing games that I like I haven't had the drive. It's been elsewhere. My mind's been elsewhere for a while, but you know, I don't know. I think it's just trying to reel in all the shit that's going on.
Elsewhere's
sorry.
a good place. Yeah, Elsewhere's a good place to be. I've been there. I've been to
Oh,
Elsewhere. I understand that.
Yeah. Just you know, take some time of focus, and with the drawing stuff, I think that's helping. And I will say, although I don't know if she's still promoting it, but I think Kefke was looking at doing some commission work.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend Kefke over at the Minions.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm working with her on a couple of projects. So I look forward to it, but she's kind of doing a little downtime because equipment repairing stuff. But I look forward to it, and I encourage all of you, if you're looking for some good artwork done, check out Kefke. I think I'll find the
Yeah.
Twitter.
I'll post it, or you can post it.
Yeah.
Chat. That'd be awesome. Well, cool. Sounds like you're having a pretty good day. So, Harry, what have you been up to today?
Oh, I don't know. Fighting with IPv6 mostly.
Woo!
What's wrong with version 6?
No, it was just one of those things where customers said, we really want 3 systems. Can you make us 3 systems so we can test? But we want them only to have IPv6, no IPv4.
That's a whole different deal.
And I'm like, okay, well, this means a lot of other work.
Isn't that? And I promise this won't get technical, but isn't that just a different IP stack installation? Do you just install IPv6?
No,
Or is it more than that?
There's a lot more to it. It's a lot different than what you're used to.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you've just got, you know, like your system at home, you know, you plug in your PC that you use for games and spreadsheets and emails, right? And you've got a Comcast connection, and they give you IPv4 and IPv6, and you've just got it set up to auto-configure. Just plug it in and go, I don't care. I just want to play my games and do my spreadsheet and send my email. I don't care. And you just say, do everything automatically. You won't notice. It'll just all be transparent, and it won't make any difference. right?
Okay,
That's
but
fine.
for those of us who like to choose our DNS servers and hand configure every freaking thing in it,
Yeah, it actually is
it's a
really
lot different.
hostile for that sort of thing. So mainly the thing that I had to explain to them as well. This means the file servers. I said, do you want to do you know, continuous integration? Do you want to do QA all the time? What do you want to do? And oh, wait, I want to do all the things. Oh, really? Okay, so that means you need file servers to talk v6. You need name servers to talk v6. You need, you know, all these things. All this infrastructure had to be changed up too. And it's always easy to miss like one thing. I probably spent about half a day chasing my tail because I forgot to add the v6 addresses to the firewall as allowed ranges on those ports. Oopsie. It's like I could ping things, which meant I could see that they were there, but I couldn't connect any services. And I was busy racking my brain trying to figure out how come I can ping it, but I can't actually use it. Yeah, so it was just, you know, it's fine. I get paid by the hour, so I sort of don't care. But
you can tell them that the ICMP works.
Yeah, I basically put this to bed 5 minutes before the show started.
Oh
There you
man.
go.
Okay. Well,
So,
I didn't mean to
out
take you back
of
to
one
work.
fire into another. You know, here we go, man. I'm fresh as a daisy.
God, Gary.
Love it. Oh, very good.
Yeah.
It sounds like once again you're doing things none of us would.
But I
could
do
possibly
have some
understand.
good news though. I found
What's
this
that?
is almost impossible in California. I found a magical unicorn of a service person. I found a
Ooh.
plumber who's $100 an hour if you pay him cash.
Ooh, nice.
He's got like great reviews on Yelp and lots of them. And he's going to come and do some work for me. And it's like at $100 an hour, a guy in California who will actually show up. Because there's plenty of people that say they'll show up and then they just won't. But this guy's been around for like 35 years. I just pay him $100 an hour cash. I don't have to do plumbing. I hate plumbing. I don't want to do plumbing. I don't care if I have the tools. I don't want to do plumbing. And the reason is that too much of plumbing is like an art and not a science.
Yep.
It's
Right.
it's all just sort of, well, how much torque should I put in this? Armstrong torque. How about you go fuck yourself? I don't want to do, don't give me an answer like Armstrong torque.
Right.
Give me foot pounds or Newton meters or anything other than Armstrong torque. Because you know, I use my Bowflex and I can break things easily. If you tell me to give it Armstrong torque, I'm going to break stuff. I'm not claiming to be as strong as Sanguine, but I can easily break plumbing.
Yeah.
You know, give me a big old wrench and tell me to Armstrong torque it. Yeah, that's perfect.
70-year-old man can break plumbing. Has this year.
Yeah.
Already happened. That's already happened.
That's what the long bar and the hammer's for. But that's not Armstrong torque. But the point is that people who do plumbing and who know what they're doing should be treasured. And
Oh yeah.
you should rejoice when you find one. So finding a new plumber is almost, that'll actually show up and doesn't cost an arm and a leg, is almost harder than finding a new doctor or a new dentist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on. Can I at least add to that?
Please.
It also is a good thing for the tradesmen that go into that. You know, if they are good at their craft, they're a good plumber. We should applaud that because yes, you know, yeah, you may not know how to do the work yourself, or you may know how to do it, but you don't want to do it, or you don't have time to do it. But that person took the time to learn how to learn that trade, and they're going out there to do it, and they're doing a good job at it. That's something that we should be like, yeah, dude, hey, nice job, man. You know, like there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's just weird that we've gone to this, you know, viewpoint of these types of work as being like, ugh, you know, like, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, there are some jobs that are like that, but you know, some of the, like you said, plumbing, yeah, you don't want to fuck up with some of this stuff. Carpentry, fucking roofing, fucking, yeah, a lot of housework is something that's not to be just tossed to the side as easily.
Oh
No
no,
doubt.
no.
No doubt.
I'm glad Micro's Dirty Jobs has come back because I think in this era we need it.
Wait, it's coming back?
It's been back for a while. It's on the online stuff, but it's like on the free side of it, if I remember right.
Oh,
But Dirty Jobs,
the-
yeah, no, they have so much of the stuff on YouTube too now, which is awesome. Because it just like you can watch it and it's micro just being micro.
Yep.
And I love Dirty Jobs because he's always been the man who pushes the idea of like, hey, you need these people, stop it.
Yeah. These people are willing to do all the shit that you don't want to do. And it's funny because they'll use that in a political stance. Like, oh, you don't want these illegals because they're going to pick the produce that you don't want. It's like, dude, these guys are digging in shit infested sewers. It's like, yeah, those guys are doing it too. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, I don't want him here because I don't want him taken advantage of because it's modern day slavery, but I get what you're getting at.
Well, no, yeah, I know. Like I said, the political argument for it, you know.
Oh yeah, that's the thing that always makes me mad. It's like, no, I don't want people being exploited. That's what I want. I don't want them to be exploited. Like, let them
Paid
come
for
here
their
legally,
job.
this way they get paid what they need to be paid, not 25 cents an hour.
Yep.
Don't feed me your horse shit. Because they've tried that stuff here in West Virginia, and the West Virginians are always like, I mean, as long as they're
No.
legal and they do their job well, they should get paid what they earned. And that sends people over the edge, and it's hilarious to watch them talk to the good old boys. I love watching good old boys. They're hilarious. Because they're never as racist as everybody else thinks they are.
Dude, good old boys?
Yeah.
Good old boys generally aren't racist at all.
Nope. Well, they have very much the standing of, if you leave me the F alone, I will leave you the F alone, and we can both be F alone or together.
Most of the
separately.
world actually works that way, except in the minds of the paranoid left.
Well,
Hey, hold on. Can I
think there's very little actual racism.
Yeah.
I can't believe
left,
I'm asking.
But crazy people are.
Could I toss in a thunderbolt of, but what about the Proud Boys? Dun, 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 dun. Weren't
What
they
happened
charged
with the
today?
A little
Proud
bit
Boys?
different.
What happened with the Proud Boys? I don't even really
They were
understand
charged today. I think they had their showing of the January 6th commission or something like that tonight.
But
Well,
the
I mean,
Proud Boys as an organization have been charged? I'm
No,
not sure.
there was a group of them, I think. I don't
okay. So these are the people who were part of the January 6th thing who were also Proud Boys. And so they were
I believe so.
charged with. Are they going to hang them? Are they going to kill them for being treasonous?
I have no idea. I have no idea what they're gonna do. I just saw a bunch of news bits because usually at work, when I'm waiting for system to load, I take a look at the news. You know, the little news blip on Windows 11 or whatever.
yeah, the thing in the corner, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw it, and it just kept bringing up like the Proud Boys are brought up on charges. And then January 6th committee is going to hold a special premiere tonight about what they're charging and all this shit. And
which I don't think anybody really watched because I haven't seen anything about people watching it.
The last article I saw on it was like they were pissed because Fox wasn't showing it or something like that because it was at the same time as Tucker Carlson. I don't fucking.
They're
know.
not going to show that in Tucker Carlson. You got to yell that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about them.
Tucker Carlson's making shit tons of viewing, so they're not gonna.
Like, no, honey, no.
But
You're not gonna do that.
That's that was apparently the big up on the news. Again, I have swayed away from watching a lot of the major news sites. The only news that I'm getting from those feeds, I would say, is when I'm at work. When I'm, oh, okay, system's gonna take a couple seconds to load up the diagnostics. What's the news saying? Oh, Putin's warning that only mutants will survive the nuclear strike. Oh, that's cool. Thanks, Newsweek. I think when that happened, Newsweek, don't get us, Susan.
A thing with the news in the name. There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's one of those things. I've kind of done the same, but even some of the smaller like information stuff that I used to watch, a lot of people are getting massively hyperbolic, and it's getting annoying. It's like, stop telling. Like, I want a little bit of your opinion. I do not want the entirety of the story to be your opinion. Give me a breakdown. Move on. I don't want to hear you wax Civil War. Like, I don't want to listen to Tim Pool. Like, talking about Civil War like every 5 effing seconds. we're gonna have a civil war. This is gonna lead to civil war. This is gonna be a civil war. We gotta do civil war. What do you mean? Of course, there's gonna be a civil war. And it's like, oh my god! And they're all starting to do it now too. They're all like, it's a civil war. And I'm like, no, it's not. Stop it. Just stop it.
Hey, well, yeah, even there's a guy I watch frequently, Young Ripper, and
Yeah.
he brought it up about Civil War, and the thing that my goofy ass went straight from hold on. The last time we had a civil war, the federal government could have possibly put an end to the rebellion really quick had McClellan just done what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's like I'm sitting there like, well, I don't know. But then it just because I was going through the whole like, I hate the argument of, oh, what are you gonna do? They're just gonna drone you, and it's like, well, no, because they need people there to do the jobs. They need the infrastructure there to do the job. It's like they don't want desolate land.
They don't want this land, but they also don't want everybody dead.
Well, yeah, they don't want to have to rebuild shit. Like that makes no sense.
They're elitists. They don't want to actually get their hands dirty. What's wrong with you people?
Well, and you can get the they'll just bring in people. Okay, yeah, but at the same end, if they destroy the cities, those people that they bring in, they're gonna have to train them on how to build the fucking city. It's it makes more sense to just kill a lot of people and whoever survives are just slaves. Like that makes a lot more sense in terms of how the war is going to be fought. It's not going to be, they're just going to send drones and tanks. They're not.
Yeah, it's a lot of people have played way too much Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever, and they think that's how it's going to go. Like, we're just going to go straight to war. No. That's dumb. It's wasteful, is what it is. And it's like they may be jerks, they may be controlling people, and these are everyone on every side is like this. There's a lot of people on both sides who are like this. But anyone with any kind of sense knows, let's not destroy everybody. We just need to make them either afraid or indebted, and if we do that, we're fine.
Yeah.
And that's all you have to do usually. And sometimes, and that doesn't always work either, because the human spirit is one thing, if not, has a lot of perseverance involved. And you may get some people, you may even get a large portion of people, but there'll be a certain number of people who like, screw you, and just go hardcore. And whether those people are the right or not, who knows? Well, history won't be able to tell us for another 50 years until after everything ends. And even then, it's sketchy. Because I'm sure some people are going to lie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'll find some liars among the bunch.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder how many people realized that yesterday was the anniversary of D-Day.
Oh,
yes,
my
of course.
social media was covered with it because I know military people.
But somehow escaped the notice of our president.
I will tell you.
Secretary.
Can I tell you my tinfoil hat
Please,
reason?
Of course.
Because I don't know. I'm reading a lot of sources and stuff in terms of current information. One of the things that was brought up a lot was yesterday was also another 666. It was like a 666 the day for the day, because it was the 6th month, 6th day, and then I guess 2 + 2 + 2 = 6.
Oh.
So it was a weird fucking thing. And I'm sitting there looking at this, and I'm sitting there, maybe that's why there wasn't a whole lot of hoopla about D-Day, because normally there would have been a lot of coverage on, this day, this many years ago, they stormed the beaches and they established a foothold in France, and it's weird. We didn't see anything about it. Well, I didn't see anything about it until you posted something about it.
Yep.
I think I saw somebody
at the beach brought about your day at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that all this crazy shit's going on. It's like muddling, some of the. Well, again, like I said, this.
Well, I think a lot of it also was the fact that a certain person cannot be trusted to do a full speech sometimes. And I think they already knew they tempted their luck with the one speech. So they're like, let's not do this again. Let's not.
You know what was going to happen? He was going to go out there and go, I remember when I was at D-Day. I was a young lieutenant, young lieutenant colonel, fresh out of OCS. And Winston Churchill called me up and said, hey, you Americans, we need your help. And they'd be way better if you were there. And I said, okay, Mr. Churchill, Mr. Prime Minister. It'd be something like that, some rambling bullshit about how, he was like the first guy to hit the sand on Omaha Beach and just shut up.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked right across and I saw Hank, what's the fucking name? Hank Allen? No, fucking I ruined the joke. What is his name? I saw him and he looked at me and I said, yeah, we got to go up there. There was Corn Pop next to me.
Now, what he probably would do is quote Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
I was a school teacher.
I used to watch General Patton's dog for him. It was great.
Because I could see that happening, and it's like they already tempted fate with the one discussion, air quotes, about gun violence and stuff like that. And I yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, you know what? I think he was probably making a speech about how we need to get rid of guns on January 6th. Was he?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Sulu was there for him. Did you see his tweet today?
God, that pathetic.
Today?
He said, I think the 20 million AR-15s in the United States would equip the Ukrainians very nicely.
Does he not see the irony in that statement?
I don't think Mr. Sulu sees much.
I don't think Mr. Sulu has a brain.
He is neither bright nor experienced, in my opinion. He just doesn't have a breadth of experience to, know how to find out how things really work. I actually think that's a big problem with a lot of the people in the world right now is they don't have the tools they need to figure out how things really work in order to take intelligent positions on very significant matters over which they have some control via the vote. Makes me sad. I love talking with someone who, particularly somebody on the left, who has their act together, knows how things work, and simply makes different assumptions about the world or has different objectives, believes that principles work differently. And we can talk about those things, but we can talk about them over some, common ground, common intellectual ground about understanding what's out there and how things work. Too many people just believe fables. And these fables enter into their fundamental assumptions about, and it's on the right and the left. It's just people being intellectually lazy.
Well, I think it's intellectually lazy, but I think some people, they know, like they have a feeling that
they're doing wrong.
Well, I think some people know that something doesn't add up, but they're so terrified that their mindset's going to change that they're unwilling to look into it further. That kind of knowing.
Or the question scares them.
Yeah, like that.
I think that's
like that.
I think that's part of it because I think it might be an equal mix of fear, like holy shit, I've been wrong, but it's also another one of ego, like damn, I've lived my life this whole way, and it wasn't, or I've been led on, or I can't believe that, I can't accept that I've been lied to or I've been done. I think that's a big part of it for a lot of people. Well, I don't think sorry.
Well, no, it's that way with everyone. Like every person is like this. It's always the fear of being wrong, and even if you find out you're wrong, admitting you're wrong. because there's this whole thing where it's like, it makes me look weak. And to a point, they're right, but it's only on how you act after you're wrong. If you turn into a raging jackass, yes, I'm going to look at you and go, oh, you're weak and pathetic. Good to know. But if you go, you know what? I screwed up. I'm sorry. Should have gotten my information better, or I should have done this better. I will try to do better in the future. Let's have a discussion. Like that kind of reaction, or at least something very, very similar to it, just admitting to it and just kind of going, well, I was an idiot. Let's see if I can do better next time. That kind of stuff. But and that's part of human nature into itself too. So this is not me judging people. It's just, I think it's hard, and the deeper people get, it's kind of like, I think that's a little bit how cults work sometimes, is that the deeper you get into it, you get so terrified of the fact that you're wrong that you're just unwilling to just talk to anybody, because you don't want to sit there and go, oh, well, I was a dummy. And I think that's what fucks a lot of people up. Like a lot of people. And it's just so sad, because it's like, I get it, because I'm the same way, and I try very, very hard not to be that way. And it's a bitch. But I've also learned some of the best stuff I could after I admitted I was wrong, and someone was like, and the person on the other side, when I admitted I was wrong, was gracious and didn't go, went, well, let me explain this to you. Cool. And that's the kind of thing that needs to happen. And especially with social media, like, it just makes it so hard for people, because so much of it's based on very limited perception of people who you have no real depth of interaction with. And that's where a lot of the problem comes from, is that you're basing it off very thin, very small, very short interactions with people who, in the long run of things, probably don't mean a lot to your life. Not really. So
No.
and that's kind of exacerbated the whole problem.
Well, I'm gonna indulge my my hippie moment here, but
Go for it.
yeah, but that little moment could mean a lot to that person for all time.
Hey, man, little moments are what get human beings through this thing we call life.
Well, I mean, hold on.
Little moments.
In all fairness, I will say, on the opposite end, I do, and I don't know if it's selfish of me. I try not to think of it as such, because I don't think it is, but you know, even something like holding the door open for someone, I like to think that in that moment of kindness, that person is going to go and spread it elsewhere, and maybe not to their, family member or anything, but to another stranger. Just, oh, hey, somebody opened the door for me. No, open the door for somebody else, and it just gives a little glimmer of brightness to these people's lives, and it's like that's the best I can hope for.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. Like, it's like being in the fact that I grew up country, and I am in West Virginia, so we as country as hell around here. Holding the door open for people is common, but I've always found whenever I go to a bigger city, because I lived in Louisville, and while Louisville is in air quotes the South, it's still very much a metropolis, and it was always hilarious when I would hold the door open for people, because some people you could tell came from like smaller towns and stuff like that, like I did, and they just go thank you, and they would move on, and other people would be like, oh cool, you're holding it, okay. Or I would say thank you to somebody for holding the door open, and they would try to turn and look at me like, you're welcome.
Yeah, you notice the difference.
Yeah, even just smiling at people, like, it's hilarious to listen to some people from Europe talk. They're like, why do Americans smile so much? I was like, because God forbid we want to make someone else's life happy for a moment while we're having a bad one.
Because we're not Swedish.
Yeah, really.
Oh, no.
I may have a relatable story. I was thinking about something completely different, but I'm going to pivot based on what you just said. I was in another forum. I was in another Discord, which is sort of mostly Britbong people. And so it's the other part of YouTube that I sometimes talk to. So I was hanging out with the Britbong people. Somebody posted this little movie meme thing talking about, there's two kinds of people. There's people who put the shopping cart back and people who don't put the shopping cart back.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going through this whole thing about how, if you don't put the shopping cart back, you're a monumental piece of shit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, okay, fine. So I just pointed out that, and I was sort of trying not to come off as being too judgmental, so I just said, well, there's people who work at the market who are like have mental handicaps, like people with Down syndrome, and the government essentially pays their salary for them to work at the market, and all the people at the market have to do is just make use of them, treat them well, and a lot of these people are just so happy having something to do, to be useful. Me putting my cart back is dumb because there's somebody who takes joy in feeling useful. And why should I? It's actually being thoughtless while thinking you're being thoughtful. And this European person came back and said, well, that's dumb and you're stupid because that's like saying you should litter so that the people who clean up the litter don't, so that they have something to do.
That's exactly what that's like.
That's exactly what that's like if you ignore a whole bunch of important details. So to the Europeans, what I was talking about was just completely, they had no concept of what I was referring to. Like, why, because you're sitting here and, they're bagging your groceries and they're doing kind of a shitty job. But if the least I can do is be tolerant and smile while Corky breaks a couple of my eggs. It's not that big a deal. I'll live.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine because I don't really live in a world of privilege and not privilege. But if you're born with like extra chromosomes and you're possibly going to die early and you just want to have the joy of being useful and being around people, I can just suck it up.
Yeah.
For that other person. And I don't do that for other people. I'm not going to like hire buggy whip manufacturers to keep them in business, and other people can just adapt and change. But for those people, it's important to not be a complete dick. And the Europeans did not understand this at all. They were just sort of like, well, there should be a home that the government takes care of them. Why? No, just shut up. We're not so sensitive here in the US, at least most of us, that we have to not be in a room with somebody who makes us feel weird about ourselves. Just treat people like human beings and smile and say thank you, and don't be a fucking asshole all the time, Europe.
But
they have a problem with that because that's their natural state.
Yep.
And I say this as somebody who grew up there.
Yeah. Serenity, what were you going to say? I cut you off. I'm sorry.
Well, no, you're good. It's one of those things that's kind of like, one, here in West Virginia, we do not have those people. So if we do not have those types of, God, I wish. People who have the extra chromosomes who help out the grocery stores and stuff like that, they're not down here.
Well, it is a federal thing, not a
Wait,
state
West
thing.
Virginia doesn't have anyone with Down syndromes?
No, we do.
They make them work in the coal mines.
They work in the coal mines, but they don't like work at the grocery store or anything like that because most of the grocery
Ours are
stores
checkout. They handle our money, our cards.
And because most of the stuff down here is like Kroger, and Kroger's unionized and thus won't allow that. Because God forbid. Or it's like very, very small grocery stores that kind of can't do that because they don't have the extra employee space to do that, to pay people. But so in that situation, if you don't put the cart back, I think you're a dick. But if there is actually someone like the people with extra chromosomes or people who are disabled to do that kind of stuff, I agree with Harry. It's like if I have to hear one more European person talk about, oh my God, how shit is America designed? Like you have to drive everywhere. It's like, because I don't want to live I don't want to kiss my neighbor through the wall.
In Europe, the grocery store is usually in the mall or something like that. So if they bring the grocery cart all the way to the park, and they just bring it out there, then they deserve whatever happens to them. They'll get screamed at the whole way out.
But it's just like I said, like I get very And I think Americans need to stop doing it to Europeans too. Like, just like let individual places do what they're gonna do. Stop being judgy of either side. And stop going, oh my God, if we were only like Amsterdam and an entirely walking city, we would be so much better. It's like, we're not
It's
even close to
freaking
being,
cold there.
well, it's not the cold. It's we are not an ancient city that was already built in a very tiny country that had very tiny borders that couldn't spread out to begin with anyway. Like, a lot of Europeans
Amsterdam is
don't.
cold.
A lot of Europeans don't understand how big America is. They really don't. Or Canada. Let's be completely fair to our cousins to the north. They have no idea. Like, one of my cousins had a friend, and I was around them when this happened, had a friend come from, it was France. And they thought that you could just hop on a train and go all the way to Vancouver from New York and you would be there the next day. And they were like, no, that's a plane. They're like, well, how far? And they showed them a map and showed them the mileage. They were like, what? And it's like, yeah, this is the reason why we have sprawl, because we have room, unlike you all. But yeah, no, it's like, it's really weird to hear a lot of European people talk about compassion, because they talk about it, but then a lot of their own laws don't show it. Like, is it Sweden? Someone's going to correct me. Sweden's the one where they basically, and I'm to be completely clear, I'm pro-choice, but where it's basically we no longer have any children with Down syndrome, and it's kind of like Iceland. That's what it was. Thank you. I knew someone would know. I was like, Jenna probably knows, but it's like, and they're proud of that, and it's like, well, when you just get rid of the baby because of the fact that it has that, and once again, I'm pro-choice.
What do they put them on ice floes or what?
I'm not pro-choice.
Well, I am, just because I had a family member who became sterile from a very bad procedure, and I prefer it to be done in a safe way than a non-safe way, because it's going to happen no matter what.
If you're gonna get it done, it should be safe.
Oh yeah, no, I figure that. Like, that's my problem when
Okay.
people say pro-life people don't care. I was
And
like, yeah, they
early.
do care. Yeah,
First,
early.
you probably don't want to go down the abortion.
Yeah,
rabbit
your
hole.
baby.
Yeah,
if you
that's
get an abortion when you're
guys.
40 weeks,
Jenna, let's respect.
Skep
what
is
Skep
begging
just
you
said.
not to talk
Yeah,
about this.
but
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's just kind of like,
And his knees are sore, so
there's only so
I'm
many.
sorry your knees are sore.
There's different definitions of compassion.
he's been gardening a lot.
It's
That
like
sounded dirty.
I-
two conversations going on.
Do you want to know what
Yeah.
happened
Oh
at my
my gosh.
doctor's appointment today?
Your what?
Doctor's appointment today.
Yes. How are you
Yeah.
feeling, Jenna?
My appointment with my doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They took me off of 2 meds.
Oh, nice.
Yay.
Score.
Did they replace them with
No.
anything?
Because it was causing my body to have that pain. They think the reason the nerve block and everything else wasn't working was because I was having a reaction. I'm gonna have to figure it out.
Oh, welcome to
And then
modern
they took me
medicine.
on diabetes medicine because my numbers looked so great.
Oh, that's good.
That's good news, right?
So
That's
one
good.
medicine is yay, the other med is oh yay. I get to be off it for a while. Stopped hurting.
Ah, damn. So it's a
Goes
monkey
back to
paw type
hurting
of
what it
thing.
used to.
I'm just curious. Did they take you off the oral anti-diabetic?
The what?
Did they take you off the anti-diabetes, the anti-diabetic medicine
They-
you're taking?
Took me off the metformin.
Metformin.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel?
Yeah, that's the big question.
It's been 12 hours. I took it this morning because my appointment was after, but I didn't take my other med. It's now been a day because I stopped it yesterday because my whole left side went numb.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was scary. I really thought I was having a stroke.
Yeah, that's where my brain would go. It's enjoyable when you have anxiety and your brain goes there. It's like, yay, thank you.
Well, I couldn't move my arm
Yeah.
and my face was, but I could talk.
Yeah.
But my husband, of course, goes, well, with your luck, you would talk through a stroke.
Wow. Okay.
At least he cares.
Yeah. No, it's like I
It's gotta
understand where he's
sweeten
coming
away.
from, but I understand where he's
Sounds
coming
like
from. But
me.
Hey, in all fairness, I had a minor one, and I goofed on it too. So I was like, oh shit, I turned into Slaw. No.
It's scary, isn't it?
It is scary as shit. Yeah. No.
When you have it's just numb and you can't do anything.
Yeah, it's
wait till you have a stroke when you're behind the wheel of a car. That happened to me.
yeah.
Well, that's
That
why I got
was-
taken off that other med.
Fortunately, I was in stop and go traffic. I was stopped. The event, the cerebrovascular event, as they call it, occurred, and I just went unconscious, just like that. Foot slipped off the brake, and it was in a slow, like 1 mile an hour collision with the brand new pickup truck in front of me, which was driven by a paramedic.
Oh, luck.
That's
And
the best person to hit.
Because he came storming back to the car. I barely remember this. And I was starting to rouse out of real unconsciousness. And he's pounding on my window. And I remember him just saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I finally got the door unlocked, and he hauled me out of the car and stretched me out on the shoulder of the road. True story.
It's like, all right, let's get you the heck out of that thing. I'll kick your butt later.
Yeah, no
How dare
more
you scuff
doing
my
that,
car.
Skep. I command that you be healthy and safe from now on.
Everyone, you've heard it. Jenna is a god. She can control.
I'm
Skep.
not a god. I just.
That was 10 years ago, by the way.
Hey,
That
man,
was
you're still
10
kicking. That's all that matters.
Did you have to learn to rewalk and stuff?
No, I didn't. I really didn't have any lasting. Well, we think I didn't have any lasting follow-on effect. I mean,
You should really write a book about your life.
yeah, right.
I'm not kidding. Between your service, your
Lots
other
of people
personal
serve.
stuff that I won't mention, and everything, it's a very interesting life. I'd read it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Easier just to
I'll
talk
write
to
it for
Skep.
you.
Get the author, get the story in the author's voice.
Well, I mean, plus the nice thing about the Minions of the Zoo channels, because Skep's been on here since pretty much inception, we have all the stories. People can just go back and read
it. In the world doesn't.
That's true. After I'm gone, this will be preserved for eternity.
Yeah, archived.
Or at least
So
until Susan nukes YouTube.
Could be a positive to others.
Well, I owe you a story, Skep. Remember, I think I mentioned.
Yes.
Well, remember, I was telling you about me in 6th grade science camp and how much I hated it because at science camp they locked us in the cabin so we couldn't look at the eclipse because science.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And this was like the thing that made me not listen to anybody anymore, become kind of an asshole when people try to push me around.
Yep.
I mean, so they gave us this assignment at the end of this thing, and they decided that we had to do like a little show in front of everybody, each of the cabins, about something that we learned at 6th grade science camp. I was in a very bad mood at this point.
Wait, Harry, can I guess what you learned?
Nothing.
Sure, go ahead, but you'll never guess. You'll never guess.
Camp counselor douchebags.
No. This is good. So there was this one. These were all supposed to be 6th graders, but there was this one teacher who had obviously been teaching kindergarten and suddenly ended up teaching 6th grade. And she decided that we all needed to learn this song about. It's this stupid song which was Little Rabbit Frou Frou hopping through the forest, picking up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Completely inappropriate.
Down comes the good fairy.
Yeah, completely inappropriate for 6th graders. It's stupid, annoying. So I decided, when everybody was trying to come up with a plan for what to do, I said, why don't we turn her song into a play and make her cry?
Harry.
So we did.
I'm so proud of you.
We made her cry.
Involved?
we turned. I basically wrote a little play, gave it to the class clown, said, "Here, go be clownish on stage," and she got very sad, started crying, and left.
Harry.
So this was me being evil. I was in a bad mood. I mean, I don't like making women cry, but
Apparently
I was
you
angry,
did.
and somebody.
It.
I was in 6th grade. I was angry, and somebody needed to pay. So she was the best. We were supposed to do something about something that we learned science-wise. Not like we could have done a great play, like a Fellini-style play about the eclipse, because we didn't get to see the fucking eclipse. So instead, we were just going to talk about whatever the stupid newts and plants and spores and things that they had in their stupid science camp.
The science
really
didn't hurt you anymore, Harry.
Yeah, they locked us in our cabins so we wouldn't see the eclipse.
Didn't you have windows?
Well, it's surrounded by trees and stuff. You need to go outside and go into a clearing so you can look up at the thing.
Exactly.
Was this in 1970?
No, but it was roughly that era. So anyway,
I saw Deliverance.
Yeah, so it was just this thing that I was just I have a gift of sometimes being able to whisper in people's ear at just the right time to get them to do evil things without me being necessarily involved. So nobody knew that I wrote the stupid play or that it was my idea.
Oh,
I didn't necessarily want her to cry, but instead of doing a science play, we just decided, oh well, it's within the mission brief. We get to do a play about something we learned. Why not just make fun of this stupid song?
So, the teacher was... Okay, that's something my preschoolers love. Little Bunny Foo-Foo.
Yes.
And they love smacking the field mice.
Yeah.
Bopping them on the head. Yep.
Yeah.
Bopping them on the head.
Yep.
Down comes the good fairy.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Little Bunny Foo-Foo.
I was too old for that in preschool.
Well, she was probably pushed into it by someone else, and she was just like, all right, phoning it in. Here we go.
No, she had to be drunk or delusional or something.
So in your play, Harry, was there an evil fairy that came down and started grooming the little...
No, it was a good fairy.
He's talking about Harry's play.
Nothing quite that bad, but this just put me on a trajectory of not listening to people, because I figured it's just going to be another one of those things. It's when you get to be disappointed by things, and so you get into a strategy of avoiding disappointment by just being contrary all the time. It works. It's generally pretty effective, but every now and then something will trip me up. Like there was this thing at Great America in Santa Clara, which is a big amusement park, and they had the Star Trek experience. And I was going to go see the Star Trek experience. There was going to be people in like actual costumes and things from the movies and the TV series, and it was going to be awesome. And I paid, I don't know, like $30 and stood in line for, I think, almost 3 hours to wait for the Star Trek experience. Yeah. And I finally get around the thing, and I suddenly see like one guy dressed up as a Klingon and somebody else dressed up as a red shirt, and then you walk into a tent and there's like a few things set up, like here's a phaser and here's a few other things, and then there's a sign that says this way to the great egress.
So the only person there was like Will Wheaton.
It was the lamest thing I've ever stood in line 3 hours for. I couldn't believe it. So between 6th grade camp and the Star Trek experience, I have issues. I don't like being coerced into doing things, and I don't like it when people promise me stuff and then don't deliver.
You know,
I have trust issues.
I tend to think that there are two kinds of people in the world, Harry. There are kinds of people who...
How do you spell ghoul?
One type of person is the person who walks down with somebody and somebody tells them, don't kick over that anthill. And the person says, oh, okay, I won't kick over the anthill. And the other kind of person hears someone say, "Don't kick over the anthill," and this is my kind of person, because I will say, "Why not?" And I don't automatically follow rules just because there are rules. It makes me a bad person, but I don't care, because I don't care what people think. I really don't care what most people think. Now, the people I do care about, I care very deeply what they think. That means a lot to me. Because our relationships are based on that. But general approval and things like that, I could give a flying fuck. I just, I'm just like Prospero. I have gazed into my field of fucks and found it barren. Don't care anymore, and I would rather be remembered as maybe not iconoclastic, but certainly somebody who did not go along and get along just because it was the easy thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of other things that I kind of keep this mental list in my head of times when I was dumb and didn't just do what my gut told me to do. And I've pretty much learned that it's a good idea to trust my instincts and not
absolutely.
And when somebody starts pushing me to do something, I mean, it's one thing to just say, "Hey, have you considered, or are you sure about this?" It's another thing to get that impression of, this person's trying to manipulate me into doing something. And then all of the force fields go up, red alert, battle stations. You're not going to tell, but I'm like totally on guard at this point. And it's like, no, you are not going to coerce me into doing this thing.
As soon as somebody says you really ought to.
I had an HR person once. I got offers from 2 different groups, and this actually really, really good-looking HR person who wasn't dumb. She was actually a very attractive woman. I was at this party, and sort of like a work party thing afterwards, and she starts dancing with me, which is a thing I don't normally do, to give you an idea of how attractive this woman was, because Harry does not dance normally. But she dragged me out on the dance floor, and during this was trying to convince me to take one offer over the other. Can you guess which offer I took? The one she told me not to take.
Right, of course. Exactly.
That's how contrary I am. Even a really good-looking woman can't convince me to do the thing that I'm supposed to do. I'm kind of an asshole, but it's for good reason, because I found that not being an asshole is actually worse.
I don't think you're an asshole.
I know, I'm just being hard on myself. No, I don't know how you are with people.
Others.
I try to be very fair to people. I try to treat people the way I want them to treat me. But if somebody tries to push me around, it's like, I remember 6th grade camp. You can suck it. That's what you're gonna do. Well, I don't manipulate easily.
Here is something I want you to listen to. This lady is an HR manager for a recruiting outfit in Canada. And
that's terrifying.
That would tell you that. But since you seem to forget that, and you're all loud and proud with your big thoughts and your big ideas, and you wanna fucking set up hot tubs in Ottawa. I'm a recruiter. It's a small industry, smaller than you'd think. Same with HR. So if you're looking for a job, or maybe trying to keep a job, maybe, just maybe, think about what you're putting on social media. Again, freedom fighters. I know you're not really big with stats and, facts aren't your thing, but what I can tell you, what is a fact, is that recruiters talk. And recruiters, like the majority of Canada, don't agree with you. Do you know what that means? Do you have any guesses? Any guesses what that means?
Flip those eyes.
Is that if you need a job,
she seems nice.
You might not get one. If you want to keep a job, you might not get to do that. And you know what else HR is good at? Documentation. You know what that means? You want to be an asshole. We document it. We give you a couple tries. Then what do? We terminate you with cause, if we're so lucky. If not, we give you the minimum allowed by law. Either way, best of luck to you. Recruiters are watching. HR is watching everywhere. And we hate you. We hate you so much. And you think we can't do anything. But we can. We have the power. Always. Remember that. Doesn't matter if there's a fucking man at the top of your HR department. It's run by women. And it's run by angry women just like me.
She needs to get laid.
So glad I got that off my chest.
Ooh,
Meeting
woohoo.
you inside. And honestly, my heart goes out to you guys. I mean, you have families to feed, right? You brought your kids to this big event. You're freedom fighters. You're standing up. Oh, they will be so proud. So proud of you. Fuck yourself. Fuck yourself. Mwah.
Did you hear the update, Skep?
No, what's the update on this?
She got
Did
fired.
she get fired?
Yes!
I heard that they were reviewing the situation, but I had not heard that they had terminated her. How
Nice.
excellent is that? But you know, you run into this. I have known people in HR. That is this woman. When I saw this today, I just went, "Oh, that's like that person at this big company and this other person at that other big company." You know, oh my God. This is
I have a question.
she's not atypical. She's not even crazy by the standards of HR. She's just having a bad day.
I think
in
she's
their
worse
eyes.
than most of them. Most of them are evil, but in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
It's more.
I do
We're going
agree.
to stick the screws to. We're going to stick the screws to the employees because you are a replaceable cog in a giant uncaring machine, and I will make sure that you realize just how much the machine does not give a shit about you. That's normally what HR people do. She's taking it and making it personal. In addition, so she's adding like an extra layer of douchebaggery and
Yes.
C-wordishness
Worse.
on
Yeah.
top of everything else, on top of the normal pegging that you get from HR. She's decided to just, take it all the way into personal territory, like Urban Dictionary territory. It's bad. And I'm glad she's unemployed, because if I was running a company and I found out that there was a person like her working for my company, I would fire her or him immediately. Because what she's doing is
Absolutely.
she's placing her concerns ahead of the concerns that I pay her to be concerned with.
Yes.
And-
Can
that is cause for
Someone answer a
at
question
least
for me?
correction, a corrective counseling session. What,
The
Jen?
freedom fighters, is she talking about the truck people?
She's talking about the truck people in Canada.
Oh, what
Yeah.
a bitch. Go.
Wait, so this is a Canadian HR lady?
But you got to remember, and that was Canada's January 6th. January 6th, we almost lost our country. A bunch of highly organized political cabal nearly seized control of our country. We came that close. It was far, far worse than the Civil War. Many more people died than in the Civil War.
Oh, dude,
Only 400,000 people died in the Civil War.
on the inside where
Many-
it matters. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Their
And
souls
AOC was scared for her shoes.
oh,
died. No.
look, I think I saw some
God
of
knows what
the
that woman went through.
the Proud Boys lining up in classic Roman municipal or fucking damn it,
Military
Yeah,
phalanx.
yeah, and they were sitting there like it is crazy. It's crazy how anybody of them got out of it.
And
Such a harrowing time.
I
did you
don't
hear?
know how we have a country today. I just don't know. Those brave AOC leading the troops against the rebels. Thank God for her.
Well, it's a good thing that we persevered, because I'm happy to be able to pay fucking $5.85 because I know it's going to good causes. At the gas pump, I'm paying $5.85.
It's only $6 in Chicago.
Yeah.
Whoa.
If we could get kids with Down syndrome to pump the gas for you, though, you might feel better.
Oh shit! Do I have to put money in their fucking G-string cell? I don't want to do that.
No, that's not how it works, man. There's
Adam.
no putting money in the G. They're not going to wear G-strings when they're pumping gas. First of all, I don't know what kind of gas station you guys go to.
Hold on. They're not that level. They just accept the money. So if you hand it to them, they'll be like, "Oh, thank you," and they'll take it, and then it'll, gyrate away.
Yeah.
After they're done pumping the gas. No, they don't pump gas in Chicago. This is only in
New Jersey, if you try to get out of your car when you go to get your gas tank filled, that shut you do get back in the car. You're not allowed. It's illegal to get out of your car, apparently.
Oh yeah.
If you ever drive in through from Rhode Island to past New Jersey, don't fill up in New Jersey because they yell at you and you're not allowed to go into the convenience store or anything.
I think they do it in parts of New York too.
Mississippi, it has a law against self-serve gasoline also. And so here's what I drive through Mississippi to get to Alabama. I'm driving home to, go visit back home. And inevitably I need gas in Mississippi, but you pull up some sleepy little gas station out in the middle of nowhere. And and you get out of your car and the guy looks out of his air-conditioned, little hovel and say, "You need any help?" And I said, "No, I got it. Thanks very much. You have a good day." And that's the way they observe that law in Mississippi.
They give them little air-conditioned units.
Yeah, they're not coming out in that heat. I was a petroleum transfer engineer. It was my first job, and it was actually the job I was doing that caused me to miss Neil Armstrong landing on the moon. I missed the landing. I had to hear the replay because I was actually working at Route 1 Shell just outside Washington, D.C. On the Capitol Beltway. And I was transferring petroleum at the time. Neil Armstrong landed on Ed Aldrin landed on the moon. But,
one small step for man, one giant step for mankind.
It's literally my earliest memory.
I missed it. I also missed it.
Man, that was big fun. I stayed up all night. My friend Tim May and I stayed up all night long watching them watching these ghostly images on the TV as they were walking around setting up experiments and stuff. That was just an awesome night.
Let's see.
Well, it was huge. It was an absolutely huge moment. Because it's easy to have something terrible happen and have that sort of bring people together. But to have something amazing and awesome happen and it bring people together internationally, but largely nationally, is a whole different thing. There aren't many things that have brought us all together in the same way that did.
For a positive reason.
I have a funny story about that. We were watching the proceedings on Tim's black and white TV that he had in his bedroom in his family's home. He was actually a neighbor of mine, just outside Washington D.C. And so, we had gone out and bought a 10,000 volt neon sign transformer so that we could generate a plasma arc that we wanted to put. And we also have bought a very powerful magnet, like 100,000 Gauss kind of magnet that can really hurt you. And his father helped us set that up, and we were doing experiments making discs of rotating plasma, and it was causing so much interference we couldn't see. We wanted to do that while the exploration was going on because we thought it would be cool, but it caused so much interference on the TV we had to turn the neon sign transformer off. I mostly just told this story for Harry because I thought he would appreciate the nerdiness of it.
Oh, I do, because You never throw away a working high voltage source.
Oh, hell no.
There was a book back when lasers were hard to come by and
Yes.
expensive. It was a big deal. There was a Scientific American put out a book. Gosh, I think it was in the, I can't remember, it was the late 70s. And it was just a combination of articles about basically how to build different types of lasers. So with one of those, you could build a nitrogen pulse laser, and you could even build a low power CO2 laser. Those transformers are really useful. Fun stuff.
Extremely useful. Yeah, that was big stuff. That's the other thing that Tim and I were doing. We were in a kind of a science club type of thing, and the meetings were over at a Beltway Bandit, they called them. It was a scientific outfit called Melpar, and Melpar they were the king of the lasers in the Washington D.C. area in 1969. So we got to learn how to align mirrors and get let's see, mostly neon lasers and one argon laser that we worked with. Got to do that as juniors in high school. It was pretty cool. That used to be a big deal. Now they use them as pointers. It absolutely blows my mind. We worked so hard to get. We used to they call it getting the laser to laze, and you have to use these little tiny micrometer type of adjustments to get the mirrors exactly right. When it does, it's a beautiful thing. You just see this beam go through the smoke chamber. It's awesome.
We have to collimate it.
Yeah.
My older kids use the red light razor on the babies to see if they'll follow them, like cats.
Yep.
Baby ducks will chase a laser pointer. I tested this hypothesis one time.
So will my babies.
And I mean, we all know that kittens will do it, and cats will do it, and dogs love laser pointers. But there were some baby ducks that had slipped into a pool, and I was trying to convince them to get out of the pool and not die, and just end up being corpses in the pool filter, because that's what they tend to do.
Yeah.
So I got a laser pointer out, and they liked the green one quite a bit, and I was kind of coaxing them onto a float that I set up to try to get them up and out. Because the mother duck was completely useless.
That's awesome.
She was just being amazing. Pointless, stupid future meal. I had duck for lunch today. Suck it, ducks. And so they are delicious, but they're dumb. They're really dumb. And I didn't want the ducklings to die, and I mostly... because I'm not a complete asshole. I don't hate cute baby animals, but at the same time, I also don't want them dying and clogging up the pool filter. No, they're dumb.
It can also be potential duck deals later.
They're good at being ducks. They're really good at being ducks.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They've optimized for duckiness.
Yes, exactly, for duckdom.
We have
anyway, this was building up to this was going to build up to a joke about, did you record it on duct tape? But
no,
it just never really got there. Sometimes my jokes just fizzle out altogether.
That does give me an idea for next time they do that. I think I need to use duct tape to find a way to get them out of the pool. Like a moving line of duct tape that spans the length of the pool, and they just get two people.
Oh, yeah.
And then just move it across to basically just cordon them.
Yeah, like an oil spill. Like we used to do in the Navy when my ship dumped 10,000
just take the duct tape, get about 20 yards of duct tape, and then get somebody else at the other side of the pool, and just hold it right above the water, and then just corral the ducks like you're cleaning up an oil spill of ducks.
Absolutely.
So you want to do a boom with duct tape?
Yeah, it's a boom. That's exactly
similar.
Right.
It's a general idea. Yeah.
To die with such.
My dad used to do those.
One thing, duct tape, it does not taste like duck to me.
No.
It doesn't have the same gamey taste.
Found it determined to get a joke in there.
And the orange duct tape doesn't even taste remotely like.
Orange
duck.
Orange duck.
L'orange.
I had a Thai orange duck for lunch. Yeah,
Oh,
I have Galaxy duct tape.
nice.
it was actually pretty mediocre.
So, Adam, I'd like to thank you for getting the DuckTales song stuck in my head just from mentioning DuckTales.
I didn't. Did I say DuckTales? I don't
Think
think
about
I-
Rabbit Frou Frou if it makes you feel any better.
Hold on. Did I say DuckTales?
Mm-hmm. You said it right. You DuckTales.
Oh shit. Maybe I
I
didn't.
blame
I
you.
thought I just thought it. So I don't know.
No, you said it out loud.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
I have a
dangerous.
question. Are you now Scottish of veggies?
Oh wait, what?
Your name says Adam of Clan Veggie the First.
Yes.
So, a Scottish vegan? I don't think that exists.
No, I was given this name from somebody else, and I think she was trying to mix my avatar with a goofy name she gave me earlier. And I think that's how this is produced. But yeah, I'm just wearing it because why not?
Okay? It's interesting, so it's topical, I like how you're the first.
Well, me too. Because at least that's hoping there's a sequel. But uh, no, yeah, there's more to it, but I don't want to go into details live on somebody else's show. That I don't want to drag it down, So, but yeah, yeah. Damn it.
Anyhow. What?
Speaking of which, Jenna, how's that dirt bike?
I told you. There are rules to the dirt bike.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Yeah.
You have to earn the dirt bike. I need to know
How do
he's
you
going to
earn
be
the
safe
dirt
on the dirt
bike?
bike. I have to know he's going to be safe. And there are a few other rules that I don't remember.
Hold on. Oh wait. I don't think I. Yeah, I might have missed those rules. But yeah, okay. So the journey continues.
You will get your dirt bike one day.
Tune in next time.
His purple dirt bike.
Yeah.
So let's see what else happened today that was interesting that people were talking about that I felt moved to comment on. God, that lady just absolutely blew my mind when I saw that HR crazy lady. You just wonder what is going on in her mind. It's she's really unhinged. There are a lot of unhinged people out there. One of the things I'm very interested though to know, and I know that this is weighing on Elon Musk's mind as he contemplates taking over Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many Twitter accounts are basically inactive, or essentially, somebody said, "Yeah, I got to have a Twitter account." They set up a Twitter account, kind of like my Minds account. I set up a Minds account, followed 6 people, and I've never been back. Essentially. I wonder how many accounts in Twitter are that way. There's an adage that I think is largely untested that 2% of the Twitter accounts do 90% of the tweeting. Now, I'm sure there's some principle like that, but I don't know what that ratio looks like.
Well, I think that's what he was he was initially going after. He wanted to know the percentage of bots. And they said one thing, but it kind of leaked that it was a different. And I think, to be honest, I could see that, like that there's bots going out there that are just fluffing up the follower count of specific Twitter accounts, and maybe even engaging in, just pumping out Twitter responses, out there willy nilly. The one thing I want to know is, why is it that everybody's getting like normal or like passive bot accounts, but I keep getting these bot accounts that are fucking like
What kind of bot accounts are you encountering?
they're like these, like,
What do they do?
oh, hey, look at me, take some pictures of my body, and it's like,
Oh, it's the sex
those.
bots.
yeah,
Yeah,
sex
those
bots.
are the sex bots. Everybody gets those.
They're Twitter bots that are.
It's annoying as shit.
basically sex
Fuck.
account, yeah.
Yeah,
They are ladies who want you to pay for the privilege of looking at their naked body, as though they don't realize that porn is free.
yeah, but they're bots. Like, you look at them and it's like, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I
you're right.
just opened up
Right.
a Twitter account last month.
Well, what they usually do, and this is what they, because this kind of shit started on Tumblr, and what it usually is that it's a porn bot. It's actually more porn bot than a sex bot, but they will follow people to make it seem like they have engagement. So this way the system doesn't kick them, and then they wait till someone is actually like, they basically prey on people who are desperate for just kind of anything to click on it, and then it's a bot that's basically a phishing bot where it will take your account and everything like that, and then it'll kick
Hold
them out.
on. Let me pause it right there and continue. But I gotta say, damn it, it's not so much that it's look, there. Sometimes you want to have a larger follower account, and so maybe you want to, let some of those bots follow you for some time, and makes you look nice. Like, oh, look at this guy, he's got a lot of followers, and you're like,
Adam,
yeah.
are you collecting sex workers?
No, I'm not. Okay, no, I'm not. Okay, I've changed my ways. Okay, look, I've turned the page. I've gone
to another page that looks very similar.
Oh, no. Well, I got tired of the other one, so
There you go. You gotta no. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna say something real bad. I can't say that on TV.
Turning the page doesn't help when the book is the problem.
Oh,
now we're making Adam feel bad.
I'm just teasing Adam. I love teasing.
No.
Hey, I
can't turn the page if they're stuck together.
In the Bible,
dude, there are some people like
wow. Okay,
Jezebel. You'd like
kind
her,
of people I'm
Adam.
talking about.
Oh, sorry, Skep. I didn't mean to.
Just that
it's my fault. I have a dirty mind.
Just something came up in my internet travels today. For some reason, Jimmy Carter was trending on Twitter.
Wait, who? Jimmy
Carter?
God.
I think I know why he was trending.
Oh no, why was he trending? I don't know.
Jimmy
why.
who?
Jimmy
Sorry,
Carter.
He was a president. He was one of the presidents.
Did he die?
States.
No.
Don't go.
The peanuts have not taken him yet.
Expectation management. All right. I don't know really why he was trending, other than the fact that Joe Biden is being called Jimmy Carter 2.0 because he got in and inflation happened under his feet and ruined the economy and just generally is inept in every way, and everybody's saying, hey, it's kind of like the last one-term Democrat president, Jimmy Carter. And so one of the things I like to say whenever the subject of Jimmy Carter comes up, because people say that he was a nuclear power officer in the Navy, He was not. And I'm going to explain to you why he was not a nuclear power officer. Yes, he was stationed aboard 2 different diesel electric submarines, but they were not nuclear powered. He was going to school and had made it through a couple of months of nuclear power school when his father died, and he asked to be excused from the military, which was granted. It was considered a hardship thing. So he could go back home and run the peanut farm. And so he was released from duty before he. I'm so sick of this nuclear power myth about Jimmy Carter. Yes, Jimmy Carter studied engineering at the Naval Academy and at Georgia Tech before that, but he was never a nuclear power officer. Now, he had enough engineering training to where he got called up in a work group to head up a work group. That was mostly because the clearance that he had that they had given him so he could attend nuclear power school. But when he was a lieutenant, he did get called up and was part of the team that went into a hot nuclear reactor that had a problem in Canada, and he did some very good work on that. But it wasn't technical nuclear power stuff. It was more like get in this room, pick these things up, bring them out, throw this stuff on it, and you have to do it in less than 90 seconds. This was not him making careful calculations about how many millicuries were, going through a particular space at a time. So anyway, he is kind of in. He's kind of let that out there that he was this kind of nuclear power expert, and he was no such thing. No such thing. He was a good engineering student, but he was never trained in that. He did not finish his training. He just barely got the basics.
So the reason why Jimmy Carter is trending, because I looked it up, because I was curious, because I was like, someone had to say something bad, then everybody's trying to cover for everybody else. So apparently there are 2 schools of thought from what Twitter says. Either it is because I think Ted Cruz compared Biden to being worse president than Jimmy Carter, or some politician who I can't trace it back to made a joke about the only person who's happy about Biden is Jimmy Carter. Which to then a certain part of Twitter then revolted and said, Jimmy Carter has been building houses with Habitat for Humanity since the beginning. It's like, yes, because he helped found it, but that doesn't excuse ineptitude. Kindness is not a way to get around ineptitude. Now, whether he has ineptitude or not, that's another thing entirely. But that's basically why it's trending, is because one side is trying to take over the trend from another side, and the other side is trying to do the reverse. So they're basically just infighting, which is the reason why he's trending.
Skep just said that, though.
I do love Ted Cruz's tweet. He said Jimmy Carter 2.0 is worried about being seen as Jimmy Carter 2.0.
Yeah, basically.
That was awesome.
It's like, I don't like Ted Cruz a lot since he said some things recently, but I will happily give a win to some of the stuff.
When he shooed Beto O'Rourke, whatever the...
Yeah, you had his name right. You're good.
And he shoot him, like, go away. That just made my day, because what a nuisance.
True, but we also have to remember that Ted Cruz has waffled on stuff, so just because he's done something good.
Yes, but I didn't say I was going to vote for the man. I just got a kick out of him shooing the idiot.
Yeah. No, I'm not so much speaking to you, Jenna. I'm speaking to the world as a whole.
Now, it would have been even better if he had thrown a ball and gone, go fetch.
Beto O'Rourke is the Republicans' secret weapon.
Yeah, I know.
I'm pretty convinced.
At this point, yeah, because no one's this stupid.
No one's that stupid. Nobody's that unlikable. Nobody's that dorky. Just publicly
unlikable dorky.
Dorkacious.
Because there are some adorkable people out there who are dorky, but in a nice, kind of cute way, and they mean well. He is not one of them.
He's not one. Correct. Yeah.
And it's like, I agree with you, Skep. I do.
Repulsive.
I think he's a paid. I think he's a paid actor. We're gonna go that route.
So how are the Republicans doing in California, Harry?
Yeah,
Doing
Harry.
great, doing fantastic.
Is that sarcasm or is that true?
They're well in the governor's race right now in the primary. Gavin Newsom is pulling about 80% of the vote because he's just that good. And there's a Republican who's got 15% of the vote, and he's calling that like, we're doing great.
Yeah.
We're doing great.
And
Schellenberger, who's actually a pretty decent candidate in some ways, I think got a whopping 3%. Even with the mighty power of Scott Adams and Adam Carolla behind him, it's just nobody knows who the hell he is.
Like, okay, I have a legit question for Harry. Since you live in California, like, is it people are just voting for a name that they recognize, or do they legitimately think there's nothing wrong?
You know, that's an excellent, good question you just asked. I have to wonder about that sometimes too.
It's a mix, isn't it?
Well, I was going to bring up the, earlier in the show, and I got pulled away from it. It's sort of bringing up the 80-20 principle that, in any given group, there's about 20% of people who are sort of independent, who more often than not will become the leaders. They're more aggressive, they're more decisive. And there's another 80% who are just sort of followers. Now, that works out beautifully with what I just told you about 80% of people voting for Gavin Newsom. It's funny how often that 4 to 1 ratio works out.
Asserts itself, yeah.
And if you think about everything, if everything makes sense when you think about evolutionary psychology, meaning if you look at the traits that people have, you say, okay, so this person behaves in a particular way. Would this have served his or her ancestors well or poorly in the past in terms of surviving and moving on? And you probably want society to roughly be about 80-20. You want 80% of the people to be agreeable and want to get along and kind of go with the flow. And you want about 1 in 5 to be somebody who's like, okay, here's what we're going to do, team. Yeah, and that's about the right ratio, because if you look at span of control, most people who are sort of in charge of something can manage 4 other people fairly competently. You actually get into fairly rarefied air when you look at people who can manage 12 people, 24 people, a platoon, a battalion. When you get, most people cannot manage people at that scale.
62-person division when I was 23 years old.
Yeah.
Aboard ship.
It's just it's one of those things, like, it's that whole thing with California. And the thing is, like, I get that a little bit with I get that with every state, like with West Virginia too. It's like, can they not see the forest for the trees? Like,
I didn't give you a complete answer. I didn't. I derailed myself. Let me get back to the point. I'll give you an actual real answer. Yeah. The real answer is people. This is something that I've noticed that you do, Serenity, and you remind me a lot of myself when I was your age. You think of people as rational actors. And I've come to the conclusion as time has gone on that 80% of people, especially the people in the 80%, are not rational actors. People are social animals. And I mean this in the sense that it's important to be able to get along, to be agreeable. To don't be like me. Don't be like me, because you're just going to have to work really hard and get really good at stuff just to get by. If I was like not good at certain things, I would just be living in a refrigerator box. I would be God, who was it? The guy with the honest man and the lamp. I'd be Diogenes, basically. I'd just be shaking my fist at people as they walk by, muttering insults at people. That's the thing. Luckily, I'm actually good at a few things. But most people in California, the culture is so strong about this is the way things go. We're the good people. We're the nice people. We're the people that care. Yeah. We care so much. To break free of that, you have to have more than just information. You have to actually know. You actually have to have a certain disposition. There's such a majority of people who believe one thing that to break out of it is actually psychologically hard. Mentally, it's not hard at all. All it takes is you being screwed by like a planning commission one too many times. Things happen to people and suddenly they snap and then they switch out of it. But if you haven't been screwed by the government yet,
or in a discernible way,
locked in a cabin and denied being able to see an eclipse, something along that order. If you haven't been screwed by the man yet, then you just go along with it. And there's a reason why 80% of the people in most of the blue parts of California just vote Democrat. It's not that they're stupid, it's that they're kind of they have an emotional need to get along with everybody else. They're afraid that somebody will think less of them.
Yeah. No,
why do they have to say who they voted for? It's not public information.
Oh, yeah, you can absolutely secretly ballot things, but that's the problem. That's the big thing about them going around collecting ballots, because there's nothing stopping somebody from going along and the boss, will give you, I don't know, a coupon for a free ice cream cone at Baskin Robbins or whatever you get in exchange for basically signing your ballot and sealing it in front of somebody, and then they take it and they drop it off. If you want free and fair elections, having people pick up large numbers of ballots and take them in is a bad idea. I like the idea of people being able to vote on their own, because, if your spouse is abusive, you don't want your spouse being able to cajole somebody into, not cajole, but coerce somebody into voting a particular way. When that curtain closes, it's just between you and your conscience and that machine. And you should be able to vote your secret ballot. This is the best way to make sure that democracy stays, because all of the other things leave too much room for bad actors to screw it up.
Yeah. Well,
agreed.
And the thing is like, I honestly don't think people in California are stupid. I just think it's the forest for the trees analogy too, I think is what happens. Is like, they just can't, because like we talk about the stuff that Newsom's done that is just complete, like the forest upkeep stuff, where it was like only 10% of all the actual stuff was taken care of, even though he said he would do the other. And just all this, and the fact that I think you'll be able to confirm this, Harry, I think maybe, but he had the nuclear power plant decommissioned, and now he's having it recommissioned because it might look bad on him for there to be rolling power outages.
Oh, sort of on the nuclear thing. The big problem with the nuclear plant, when we're talking about Diablo Canyon, the big problem with Diablo Canyon is a bunch of the power generators have been becoming local. As instead of just buying the power from PG&E, PG&E still does the distribution. Southern California Edison still does the distribution. But the power generation part of it are becoming a lot of these community things. Like there's a Central Coast thing that covers a bunch of the Central Coast down to San Luis Obispo and places like that. And they sell people on the idea that you're going to get a particular kind of power. Like, we're going to give you green power. Only green power. So they build battery packs and they put in solar panels and they make deal with wind farms, and you get all this stuff. And nowhere in their basket of power that they buy is nuclear. And every single one of these things that comes along is basically making nuclear unsellable. You can have nuclear power, but if nobody's willing to buy it, it doesn't make any difference. That's the main issue, is that Californians as consumers have simply decided, oh, well, we don't want this. If there was a power company that I could go to that just said, I'm going to sell you nothing but nuclear power, I would be all over that. Give me
I'm sure you would.
Give me the ready kilowatt pro-nuclear thing.
With little atom head.
Well, I went to go visit Diablo Canyon when I was a little kid. I was actually on vacation. Nice. I was on vacation, and I found out that we were near the new nuclear reactor, and I said, we need to go there. Well, we're on vacation right now. We can't do that. No, we need to go there. It's only an hour and a half away. Let's just go.
What a very hairy thing.
I got to go. I got to hold a uranium pellet in my hand and everything. It was fun.
Awesome. Still has the hand, everybody.
Well, I got less radiation than Skep did with his little electron follies that he was doing that one night.
That's a true fact.
It's just.
Let's make a Jacob's ladder.
We did. We totally did that.
I know you did. I know you did, because that's how you were getting things set up.
Hanger.
Yeah, because that's the smart thing to do. Let's apply a potential difference across a gap, and then just take electrons and have them go screaming across this thing with so much power that they just ionize the air. And what happens when it hits the other side of that gap and crashes into the metal? I don't know, Skep. Where does that energy go?
That's why he has an iron
It gets
lung.
really hot.
It goes into something else too. Some of that gets turned into X-rays.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Yes, if you want to talk about the electromagnetic spectrum, that yeah, some of that energy that is up in the X-radiation area, and yeah, we probably got a couple thousand X-rays from getting his. That actually ended up being his science fair project, and he went to the. We both went to the International Science Fair that year. I told Harry that story. He and I decided to divide up our high school. I was going to take the biological part.
I hate to stop you right there. Hold on, Skep. But I gotta go.
All
so
right.
I'd love to chat further, but I gotta get my beauty rest. Otherwise,
you go see these.
all my wrinkles won't show up
Well,
properly.
thanks for coming by, Adam. Appreciate you hanging with us.
Well,
you're always welcome here.
I thank you for the invite, and I also am thankful for being able to chat with the three of yous. There's Serenity, Jenna, and Harry.
That other guy, yeah, the asshole. Nice chatting with you, man. I literally haven't talked to you for, a year and a half?
Well, yeah.
It's been a while.
Adam.
I don't know why you have to keep bringing up the shoulder instead.
I didn't bring up the shoulder. You just brought it up.
Yes.
All right, boys.
Go sleep, Adam.
Yeah. You sound
okay,
tired,
you know
man.
what? Yeah, I'm beat. But y'all have a wonderful night. I hope you guys have the conversation was great. We have going. God bless. I love you all. Take care.
Night,
Take care,
Good
Adam.
night.
We are going to have to wrap this up fairly soon. I was going to ask if anybody had anything else on their minds, or anything they had seen that they wanted to discuss here in the last few minutes of the show.
Well, it's not something that can be discussed in the last few minutes because I was going to tie something to my state and then ask Harry another question.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Go ahead. I like it when people ask me questions, because that means at least there's some chance people are going to be interested in what I'm going to be talking about. If you let me talk on my own, I'm just going to randomly talk about stupid shit.
There you go.
And I'll be interested.
Well, the reason why is because now, for the people who don't know, Harry knows this because he watches Aiden Paladin, or at least has watched some of her stuff. My state used to be.
So do I.
Yeah. So you most likely know this too if you saw one of her older things, because she's a fellow West Virginian.
Yes, she
and
is.
My state was hard blue years ago. The people who think that my state has always been red are stupid. It's only been in the last, I think, 16 years it's gone red. Like we've not been red that long. And it was mostly the screwing over of the coal miners, not the coal companies, just the coal miners, that basically had that kick that just started like people going, well, if you mother effers aren't going to help us, we're going to go the other side. Do you think it's going to have to be something to that kind of level, Harry, to make California to start paying more attention? Not, like I said, not that anybody's stupid, but to start making them go, hey, maybe we should do something about this, that kind of stuff? Or do you think it's something that either has to be bigger, or do you think it has to be smaller, slower steps?
Well, I think if the entire state catches fire and the grid's off much of this summer, and there's if you basically take the drought plus the fire problem plus the energy problems with the grid, you're going to reach the point where a lot more people are going to suddenly go, I may be in the 80% of the 80-20, but I'm ready to switch sides.
Yeah.
Just be damned with it. That's
Yeah.
and it's not. And the thing is, stupid is not the right metric because it's
Yeah.
a lot of IQ stuff is just whether people are clever. There are an awful lot of clever people in California who make incredibly bad decisions because, like I said, once you stop hanging on to the idea that the majority of people are rational actors, everything will suddenly start to make more sense. Seriously, just stop thinking that people are rational actors because they really aren't. And even if you examine your own behavior, and I think I'm probably more rational, well, I know I'm more rational than a lot of people because I'm hyper rational. I do incredibly not rational things all the time. I mean, all the time. And I'm actually kind of astonished how little control I have over my own behavior when I look at it objectively, when I kind of step back and kind of look at myself objectively and realize that, oh yeah, I'm just like everybody else, just slightly less so. I'm not really that much difference, but a small difference in being sort of contrary and critical is enough to make for big differences in behavior and opinion, I think.
Okay.
Being agreeable is not a bad thing. If you look at 100,000 years of humans living in cities and in groups where it wasn't just my tribe is going to kill your tribe, as soon as people had to actually get along with people that weren't their relatives, agreeableness was a good thing because the people who weren't agreeable all killed each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do they kill each other? Well, back then, you get a serious wound, two people fight, they both get a serious wound, they both die of sepsis. Done and done. The main outcome of people scuffling is just everybody dying eventually. Yeah. That's how bad it is. That's why humans are really good at two things. One, we actually have great immune systems, really good immune systems. We actually are, compared to most other animals, are tough as hell.
Top of the heap.
We are tough as hell. That's why we actually have autoimmune problems, unlike a lot of other animals. Well, so we have a great immune systems, and we have a fantastic ability to get along with each other that a lot of other, if you look at most other primates and a lot of other mammals, we can form large groups and not just kill each other. So as violent as humans are, we are still less violent than other animals by a big margin.
Okay.
Because we've selected out a lot of the violent people 100,000 years ago. Because, fuck that guy, go die of sepsis in a hole, because you're dead.
Well, it's that thing of, like, I'm curious about, because, like I said, in my state, and so far, the switching of the red, and eventually that will happen too, where the red it'll switch back to blue because someone on the red side has screwed us over too many times. And that's how it's going to go, I think, for a lot of states. It's just, like I said, like, I think during a lot of the big stuff, like my state was probably even more hard blue than California for a good long while. And it's just, I was curious because that's all it took was screwing the coal miners. And then, like, we have a large portion of coal miners here, but that's not the only thing we do. Like, we used to have a really big lumber industry. We used to have a bunch of stuff, and it's like, what's the linchpin? What is the thing that just turns everything? And that's kind of like, is it actually a linchpin moment, or is it just a bunch of smaller moments that just string together and happen to make it look like it's a linchpin? Like, that's the thing I've always been curious about. And they're like, I mean, if we go with the fact that people aren't always rational actors, well, they aren't. Is there a possibility that if the power grid does go down, there is a bunch of just fires just everywhere, that they go even harder to the blue side because they think that that's what will help them even more? Is it like, will it make some of them go absolutely contrarianness because either they actually think that's going to work, or they think that, well, I'm just going to go against the grain because screw you people. Like, it's one of those things, like, California, as much as I hate to say it, because there's a lot of innocent people who get dragged into this, California is going to be interesting to watch in the next few years. Because,
you have to remember, California is a huge state.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. That's the reason why I say, like, it's going to be sad to watch, because there's good people in every state who are going to get screwed by the dummies. And they're going to get screwed bad, and it may be too late by the time they realize it.
Oh, I'll take the gender spectrum thing offline. I don't want to make Maniac Man 2030 get angry, actually. Let's see.
I love that thing.
I love it, too. It's pretty funny. Well, you were talking about the spectrum, and that's what popped into my brain.
That's how Harry's brain works.
So Maniac Mind was talking about, what about hospitals? So when I say there's going to be power outages, it doesn't mean the entire grid's going to collapse.
Yeah.
It just means there's not going to be enough power to go around, so they will pick and choose which areas don't get power for a while. Now the hospitals they know where the hospitals are on the grid, and they will usually not turn off power voluntarily on the grid that the hospital's on. Thing one. Thing two, the generators are diesel, not gasoline. And that doesn't really change things, but they have huge tanks, because here in earthquake country, the bad thing would be if there was an earthquake and suddenly there was no grid for days at a time and the hospitals had to keep running. The hospitals will be fine. Nobody's going to die in the hospitals. Now, where people might die is at home with oxygen concentrators that don't work, and insulin that goes bad and things like that. So that's where things could get pretty dicey. As far as what changes people's minds, it's hard to talk about big groups, because the question is, where do we reach a tipping? What you're asking, Serenity, is where is there a tipping point that will push a large number of people over? And I think it's when you pay a lot of money in taxes and you get shit on over and over again, that there is a point where people will suddenly go, I don't care anymore if I'm a good person or not. I just want things to fucking work. And people will suddenly change. Now, whether this happens before or after California ends up in receivership and some person from Washington comes in and runs the thing like a dictator until we can pay our bills, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take. Hopefully it'll be this summer. But as individuals go, I've told you about people like Annoying Lesbian Woman, who was sort of naturally a more conservative sort of person, very contrary. And she did not like paying taxes. She didn't like all that stuff. But then she decided that once she was going to become a lesbian, she was going to be politically lesbian too. And to watch the cognitive dissonance going on inside her head, it was like watching the original Pong, with the ball going back and forth between the left and the right side very slowly. The inner conflict was just playing out in this woman, because on the one hand, her natural tendency was to be conservative. Yeah. But she felt like she politically had to do this thing to be one of the good people. Yeah. And it was like, wow, this is like looking at California in the mind of one person. You know, there's a lot of people who are entrepreneurs who have that drive for free enterprise, you know, who really have a lot of conservative tendencies. There's a lot of Mexican Americans who brought Catholic ideals and principles and ethics with them. There is a strong tradition of conservative values in California, but it's been completely perverted by essentially grooming from HR departments and schools and media and all this other horse shit. And now we're in this really dysfunctional state where even smart people, if they're in the 80%, if they're agreeable, they can't shake it. You got to be a contrary asshole like me to be free of it. You know, I don't go with convention. I'm a serious contrarian, and it's done very well for me in the stock market. I always buy stocks that everybody says I shouldn't buy, and I do really well with them. I mean, I'm not rich or anything, but I mean, a lot of my retirement money is all money I've made by being a contrarian. That's how I invest. I know this comes as no surprise to Skep, does it?
No, you know, that's usually the stocks I'm buying. Other people haven't heard about if I'm doing it right, and usually when I'm selling them, they're just getting the word that stock has gone up. I'm going to buy some now because it went up.
Please and thank you.
It's like,
see ya. You do you, boo.
It was like
I hope that answers your question, Serenity.
No, it does, because it's one of those things. Like, it's I partially think people have the capacity to be rational. I'm going to go that way, but it's the fact that I don't want to see people get hurt. And that's kind of where part of my problem comes from, is that if the person who gets hurt is the person who made the stupid action, fine, suffer. But when you start hurting innocent people who had no say in that decision, who had no control over it, and you just start screwing them. That's when I hope that sense prevails, and eventually they go, I keep getting screwed. Maybe I need to stop. I'm a small business owner in California, and there's been too many loans for the last 15 years that they that they have been able to pay back. So now I have to pay $10,000 more on top of the taxes I already have.
I'm
Well,
not
there's a-
paying
Think about
people's
that.
students' loan. They can go screw themselves.
Well, there's a
I'm not
thing
even
that's
talking
going to be
about
on the
college.
Saturday show, which is my first, a really big peeve I have with California right now. It's a big one, and I don't want to.
Oh boy!
I want to keep my powder
yeah,
dry on that
yeah,
one for now.
absolutely. Keep
I'll shut
that
up now.
keep that one under wraps.
I got a big one for you,
Oh,
just to show you
I'm
just how stupid California is.
I am
That was like
looking forward to it.
I
3 or 4
figured
years
out
ago I heard
how
about that. Like with the debt.
I
was
figured
like,
out
oh,
how Gavin Newsom would not win.
I can
He takes
tell you how it. Go ahead.
He takes a bunch of dolphins hostage,
Mm-hmm.
feeds them plastic,
Mm-hmm.
then drowns them, brings them back up right before they die, feeds them more plastic, and then slits all their throats.
And it's caught on video. It ends
Yeah,
up
it
on
has-
World Star Hip Hop,
yeah.
and then
Oh, it's
they
live
would just
stream.
they would just blame Trump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would.
well, we
You
can't
made
vote
me
for
do that.
Republican, otherwise Trump wins. So that's the important
Exactly.
thing.
Don't vote for a
And
Republican. Vote
speaking
back.
of winning, I do want to thank our chat for coming out and watching us, and we do put this on for you, and thank my panel for being a part of this tonight with Harry and Jenna and Serenity and Adam. But the time has come for us to call it a night. You spent 2 hours of your life with us, and I appreciate it. I know the panel appreciates it. Thanks for coming out and listening to us. Tune in Saturday and find out what Harry was teasing. But for tonight, the zoo is closed.